we have to bring back the old thumbnail. All right? I hope no one's confused because we're bringing back the old thumbnail because this is a freaking clown show. We have, yet again, another revision, and we're going to wait until a few people get in here so we can talk about it this morning. But it looks like that thing we were talking about last night. We did a little live video because I didn't have time to make a full video, but we are seeing that 2-hour chart start to turn up. Looks like we could go as high as 575.72 for the day. Big revision. Everything is fake. Everything they tell you is fake. Oh, you think unemployment's down? My left nut. All right. Of course it doesn't. That's the point. It's not supposed to make sense. Why is it hold on one sec. What is this? Hold on one sec. Well, I don't know who this is. Cornerstone. Some vet is calling me, and I'm like, I don't have a vet appointment for my dog. Sorry about that. Okay, now that we have some people trickling in, I just want you to understand why the Clown Fiesta thumbnail is back up, aka Jerome Powell's, because all this data is freaking fake these days. Everything gets revised, and we talked about the fact that people would get bullish and then not pay attention to the fact that things are getting revised, and the jobs data is all made up, and every single time they come out and say that the jobs data is still fantastic, they just think that you're stupid and you don't pay attention to this little R. You don't pay attention to this little R right here, this revision right here. And now, oh yeah, but look how big, look at this, 254, look at that. It's look how massive it is. It's great. It's absolutely fantastic. Everything's fine. Look, unemployment came down. Let's trust that. Yeah, let's trust that. It's just getting ridiculous. I'm sorry, I saw that and I was just like, I want to make sure you guys understand what we said yesterday was, hey, the port worker strike ended, and now people might see that as a very bullish thing, and they may forget about the revisions of the data. And now we see that this 30-minute divergence down here is playing out to the upside. We still have to look for potential upside, but I wanted to show you guys what these clowns aren't wanting you to look at on these charts. So, you want to know what they don't want you to see here? They want you to see the SPY going higher. They want you to see NVIDIA going a little bit higher. They want you to see AMD seeing a great move. They want you to see Google, a stock that they absolutely love, see a great move. They want stocks like probably even Netflix to go higher, right? With some divergences down here. But what they don't want you to do is the rigged behavior that we pay attention to. Check this out. If this is such good news, then why are people running to safety at an extremely quick rate after that news? This is just, it's like, hey, look, no, volatility is going down. Volatility is going down. It's okay. It's okay. Everything's fine. Don't pay attention to the fact that all our rich friends are selling their stocks to you guys. Don't pay attention to that, okay? No. It's fine. Why? Because we told you it's fine while we sell our stocks. Just remember, we knew all this was, we knew that this is going to end badly. Even if it goes, I guess, still going to pay attention to signals, right? We're still trading like water. They can still artificially hold the market up for a long time. Okay? Okay, they can. But for the most part, we want to say, this is going to end bad, and the Fed told us it was going to end bad because they changed their thinking. The dollar will not see this massive amount of a move from just, this. I know TLT is dropping off a cliff, but most of the time it's like, okay, we're going to catch up to TLT with the market. TLT is showing the right move is most of the time what's going to happen. HYG still holding at lower levels, not seeing upside, right? So we can pay attention to those types of things. But we want to read into it like this. Stocks are higher. The dollar is dramatically higher. In some way, even if that is slightly to the bond market as well, in some way, people are selling stocks. Let's just have some common sense here, right? I know the bond market is absolutely massive. I know it's huge. But this cannot just be bonds at that point. That is almost that is a massive move. I want you to see it on the daily scale. Look how massive that is. All right? This tells you be freaking careful today, guys. Be careful. If you see something roll down, take that chance to manage a trade. Take that chance to take profit. Take that chance to see if there's a reversal signal at this point. And someone talking about GME, trying to see a little bounce in the pre-market, right? AMC, this is the one I want to pay attention to, though. I'm sorry. GME is still holding that daily signal, not curled down yet, but this is what I want to pay attention to. This looks like opportunity. I'm just going to be honest now. right? When this type of stuff happens, it gets me a little fired up. It gets me a little annoyed with the fact that they tell everyone everything's dandy. You have a 2-hour divergence here. This curls up daily charts. This means you have a high probability of seeing an upward move or an upward trend on the daily scale. So this is what you want to pay. They're telling you stocks are going higher. Get into these stocks. Get into Meta. Get into Meta, right? That's what they want. They're like, get into this. Look how high it's going. Yeah, I don't want to touch this thing if I see this type of look. Even if it does go to $1,000, it's like, that's not a good trade opportunity. There is no trade setup here. If anything, it's saying, hey, Meta, why is it not seeing this extension higher? Well, because there's most likely going to be a rug pull today. I'm just going to stop sugarcoating it. That's what it looks like to me, right, Bernie? I'm sorry, but this stuff is BS. This is bull. The fact that they are wrong by that amount, that's just insane to me that they even release the data if they can be wrong by what, anywhere from 20 to sometimes 60% incorrect? This is just insane. Insane how messed up the market is. We got DIA, something that we added to the Patreon for those weekly expected moves. We do have the daily expected moves up for you on this chart here for the Dow. If you didn't know, this is the tradable ETF for the Dow. We do have 425.11 to the upside, but we do have 414.85. And guess where you're going? You're going right to a source of liquidity. So if you can't do this, and this doesn't have reversal signals, not the best, right? Very flat divergence on the RSI. That's telling you this could be a bounce. Go grab liquidity, crash right back down. So look if this 30-minute does fade. Election year shenanigans, and now what you would say is, from the numbers I'm seeing, it looks like Trump actually will have a chance to win this thing, like a pretty damn good one. And so what do they want to do? Well, we're going to push the workers' strike to 2025, so Trump has to deal with it. We're going to maybe even crash the market so we can say that it's because of Trump. We could do all those things. We could do all those things. Now, I think it was a good thing for them to come in and stop that strike, right? I think it was a good thing Biden did, right? I'm going to give it credit. I will. But to say you didn't actually form a deal fully, right? You still have parts of the contract that need to be dealt with, and you're going to push that off until after the election. It's just ridiculous to me. It's just ridiculous. I think the strike in general was ridiculous. I was watching one of the head guys of the strike talk, and I was watching him talk with a gold necklace, a gold watch, a gold set of glasses, and I was sitting there going, all right, is this, I did a little research and I go, oh, okay, these people are tied in with actually the current administration. So I'm just a little heated for it, but I'll calm myself down. Got to calm myself down before you start to trade, right? You got to be like, this is BS. And then you got to be like, all right, how can I make money off it, right? 65% is what they wanted actually, max effort. Get it right, okay? Okay, if they offered 50% right now, they wouldn't take it. They want 65%. 65% over 4 years or something like that. That's just, you know, makes me want to go to the gym. All right, but let's get some positivity out there, because now that we know what's going on, we can maybe make some money off it. Now that we can make some money off it, I'm down with that. I see AMC potentially hitting, I think the big upward move will most likely head up towards $22. That's what I think. That's at least what my math tells me. Just calculating the real value there. And Tesla, yes, Tesla showed some very bad divergence, really, just saying this could be some kind of bounce. So this bounce here, we want to see if these 2-hour charts actually complete, guys. Remember, this isn't out of the woods yet. These are deeper into negative territory, right? So that can be lead to another downturn. So I would be really paying attention, even if this 30-minute goes like uh-oh, because that's not going to even be enough. That can still push you into the negative trend. Mob runs the ports, I think so, and I think the guy who with that gold necklace and stuff, someone, I don't know if it's true, but someone posted his house. It's a freaking mega mansion. and he's asking for a raise of 65%, and he's willing to put all of the average American people under stress, right? Under a lot of stress to buy groceries, even more so at the grocery store, to get that money. And I think that that's just wrong, fundamentally, as a human being. But hey, but also they're very important, so there is an argument for him. I get it, but if he has a mega mansion, then I'm not forgiving people with mega mansions raises right now. Not even in the slightest. Looking over at Tesla, though, we got to see if this 30-minute can rotate back down. Very, very negative. Amazon's one that I want to pay attention to. Solid divergence there. Solid divergence there. The only problem with this 2-hour is it's in negative territory. So even if we go up for a couple of days here, we're going up into the area where this could fade right away early on in the day. All right, let's check what's going on out there today. Looks decent. Things are starting to head to the upside. We got to see if these 2 hours can curl up. Look at that. Got to see if that 2-hour can curl up. Looks like we're going to head towards that daily expected move. That would be the expected thing for the day. All right. Dollar increasing dramatically. Just keep your eye on that one. I really think that the dollar wanted to pull back here, but we're just exponentially growing at this point. So, yeah, we're pumping. We are pumping, all right. That's for sure. Volatility crossing down on the 2-hour, still more likely for an extended pullback, right? We'll see what happens early on this morning. Volatility already starting to turn up a little bit, so it might. Yeah, I gotta manage a trade here. I'm not doing this shit. Okay. Alrighty. We will see what is going on with the rest of our day here. It looks like, to me, things look a little bit fishy, but we'll see. We will see. What I really want to watch is Meta, to be honest. I really want to watch Meta here, to be honest. Really want to watch Meta. We noticed that the dollar is trying to mainly, I would say, consolidate at this level, not creating any divergences even on a little 30-minute. So we're probably not creating a divergence on the 2-hour, which just tells me, dollar can keep scaling up here. Watch out, because volatility might just turn back up very, very soon. So what can we do here? We can change stuff around a little bit. Meme-plosion. Yeah. Oh, the funny part about the debate is everyone wanted to see like people punching each other, and then it was like the nicest debate in human history. I thought that was really funny. Alrighty. All right. Got that going on. All right. So we're going to see if volatility turns up on a 30-minute. We have it selected, ready to go if this 30-minute does turn back up. Now, what we're paying attention to for the most part is the fact that things are curling up, though. These 30-minute divergences have played out. These 2 hours, we have to see if those can confirm higher, and this will be where we really want to pay attention for the day. We do notice that things like the Dow Jones are producing that bounce. See if that 2 hour can turn up into positive territory. You do have a pretty solid move for the Dow. Going up towards 425 by the end of the day would make total sense. Currently at 422. Palantir was an interesting one. Look at that 2 hour divergence forming for Palantir, but still has to prove itself, right? That is a very, very good move. Good consolidative behavior here. Curls up into positive territory, gets rid of those divergences, makes another point of divergence, but violates this one, which tells you that trend can continue. So this could last for a couple of days. Gold really wanting to turn down here. GME seeing a nice move. AMC seeing a nice move, able to confirm that divergence as of right now. MPW, let's go check that out real quick. Looking at this guy, just a simple 2 hour swing to the upside looks like a likely thing here. Now we want to pay attention. The good structure you want to head higher is you got to get reaction. You got to get a reaction all the way up to this level, right around 615. And you can see how that's kind of a left shoulder. This would be your head. If we're going to head higher, something like this would make total sense, right? Make that right shoulder. So that's what I'd look for from this guy. Looks like a 2 hour signal is the overall move here. You got to be paying attention though, guys. Dailies are crossed over, right? We can go through the SPY. Daily crossed over yesterday. The Qs. Daily did not cross over yesterday, actually, for the Qs. Actually, I thought it did. Apple and things like that didn't cross over. Tesla did cross over, okay? We can go through. Amazon's already crossed over, getting that 2 hour bounce. NVIDIA did not cross over yet, but it's hitting that wall, all right? It's starting to hit that wall. IWM was crossed over with divergences. So this could all just be some kind of trap at this point. Volatility is going to be something to pay attention to. We can look on a short time frame here, kind of zoom in on that bad boy, just see if that thing's able to turn up over time. At the moment, though, you would say the 2 hours curled down, so this could last for a little bit of time, right? The bullishness could last for a little bit of time. I don't think it looks like a bad look, Reese. HD just confirmed divergence on, we were talking about last time, funny enough, I got in before they announced the strike ended. Very, very cool. Home Depot, right here, a lot of 2 hour divergence, okay? A lot of 2 hour divergence. Daily scale can start to roll over here. Look for that reaction down towards, I would say, 395. If something bigger wants to happen, we see liquidity in this area. We see some highs. We see some good resistance here. 377 would make sense for an elongated pullback, maybe by the end of the month or something like that. As far as it goes, though, I think we need to be paying attention to a little bit of the SPY. I think we need to pay attention to this guy and see if it's actually confirming the 2 hour move. This is something that you're going to want to pay attention to for about an hour and 52 minutes, all right? Because if this is going to produce some positivity, then you're gonna curl up on that. Like if this is going to extend and get that new high, right? If we're going to test this high, then we're going to see this curled up. We haven't seen that just yet. We haven't seen that just yet. IWM, same story, right? If we want to come and test these type of levels, we got to curl up. And even then, you're looking like a lower high is more probable for IWM. That's something clear. We do see utilities with some major divergences here for utilities and starting to see that curl down to the downside on the 2 hour. So the daily scale can start to roll here. And that can be a pretty damn big pullback because you've really exponentially grown over time. So XLU can actually see some weakness here. Let's see, where could that head down towards? Maybe something towards that 20, like $79 or something like that would make sense. $65. Really? $65. I can get another color. I'm fucking down, dude. This thing, man. All right, we're seeing a little bit of volatility kick up here for the time being, or at least in the options data. It seems like people are positioning themselves according to the options data for some volatility to come back into the market. Just stay aware if that 30-minute does cross up, it's close enough to positive territory, you still have daily momentum here for volatility. TLT dropping off dramatically, looking like, hey, that needed to see some kind of bounce. We got some kind of bounce. That dropped off again, right? We see all the divergences down here. We come down, make another point. We see that pop up. You see how the divergence held on the RSI, not necessarily on the MACD right here, but it did hold on the RSI the entire time, telling you some kind of bounce was coming. Still in negative territory, pretty steep. So it curls up. You see the divergence. Boom, curls right back down. Very good trade setups there for TLT. Dow Jones, we're just paying attention, right? We got to see if these are curling up on 2-hour charts. Dow, IWM, SPY, Qs. We got to pay attention to all of them and see if they're curling up. None of them have curled up at this moment. We got to see if they can go a little bit higher, but we shall see. We shall see. Looks like AMC, we got to see if that sees an extension. GameStop on a 2-hour is going to be the signal as well, seeing if that 2-hour can reverse back around. If it did it today, that would be a good sign. Palantir, you notice we're looking like, hey, we might run out of steam up in these areas, right? You just see that. Look how tight that is on the way up. So a big move to the downside could be coming for something like Palantir. I might even look into that one. Take like a month out position or something. If it curls down, right? We got to see if that thing curls down, because the 30-minute is way up high. You're still holding the divergences, weirdly enough, on the 30-minute, but all right. Looks like we have some plays set up there. Let's see what happens. For NVIDIA, you're looking at this type of move. That's a great move. That's a great move. You like to see it. The only problem is on these shorter time frames, you are in an area where a pullback would be nice, even if we are going to be bullish with this kind of thing, right? We still want to think of both sides. We don't want to be like, oh, the dollar's screaming higher, so it has to go down, right? It's probable for stocks to go down with that dollar going dramatically higher, but it's also way higher here. You can see it, right? You can really see how we're going up to this level. We could see one more little pullback like this, fill a gap, and then turn right back up. So what we're looking for here on the 30-minute for NVIDIA is if that does pull back, as those shorter time frames are most likely making a little 15-minute divergence. If that wants to pull back, I think that would be the opportunity for a bullish move. But if that's going to be steep, right, if we start to curl down a little too much, then this 2-hour is going to rotate down, and that's just going to be bad news. Good morning, Martin. How you doing this morning? We decided to put the other thumbnail up as the dollar was screaming higher after that data. Fun. As of right now, looks like we are seeing a little bit of selling in there. Something important might be that PCC that's going to come out in a moment. Just see how people are positioned for the day. If people are really positioned towards the call side, we could see a rigged move as of this morning or by the end of the day. See if people are dramatically into calls later on. I think yields are confused with the data, which makes total sense. Now, this is one thing you got to watch too. As the housing sector and things like that, when that comes out, we'll pay attention to it. We can look at Nail. It just has some decay in it. But Nail is going to be... Meta is dumping, you said? Meta not necessarily dumping yet. You want to see if that 2-hour rotates down. This is a very obvious trade. Look at this. 2-hour divergence. Showing itself finally, right? No rejections, actually showing itself. 2-hour rotates down like this. You have a high probability to. reverse down that trend, right? We've been going like this, really tight. Now you have the chance to go like boom, and then really start to head down, right? That's what I'm paying attention to. And we talked about this at the beginning of the week, looking for people to get kind of complacent at some point throughout the week, go up and up and up, and then Friday we see a bad piece of data, and it looks like the port strike is convincing people to get bullish right as we get some data that says, hey, they're just messing with the numbers on you all the time. We even said they most likely will do something like keep unemployment down or flat, right? And they're like, oh, it got revised. People are making more money. Average hourly, yeah, they're making, oh, more money now. Okay. Manufacturing payrolls, revision, right? Another one. It's just crazy to me. Such a solid trader. What up, J7? How you doing, man? Who likes this thumbnail better? Be honest in the chat. Who likes this thumbnail better for the live videos? It ain't gonna hurt my feelings. Yeah, MPW, still looking at that. We just took a look over at that, but we want to see if that really wants to curl up. Gotta wait about an hour at least for that thing to show if that's actually gonna make the move. Apple fading it right away, by the way, so fill in the gap, that's a key thing. Great thumbnail. Okay. Maybe we'll keep the Jerome Powell as a clown since he is one. Microsoft not able to curl up just yet. Still think we have the chance for some positivity, but you're seeing looks like this. Microsoft, did that curl down on a daily scale? I believe so. Yeah, that's curled down, heading into negative territory. So a reaction down to these lows would make sense before we get a bounce. On the daily scale, that is. GME, we got to see, is this thing curling up on a 2-hour? Remember, if the market suffers, their liquidity can suffer, their collateral can suffer. So actually, GME and AMC could see something pretty good here if the market goes through some struggle. We will see. Everything will make sense after a little bit more price action. Something for volatility. Still watching that 30-minute. Yeah, I did get a good amount of rest. I actually slept really well last night, and that's a good thing. I'm just trying to change up my nighttime habits, right? I want to make sure to be able to sleep, and then my back, I'm just trying to go to the gym a bunch now and just do some rehab for it. I think, like, man, you don't think you're getting old, but then you have a kid and you're like, wow, I am getting old. Tesla opened up so high. It really did. And this is why we paid attention to some signals, right? I know that yesterday was kind of a rough day, right? But we wanted to pay attention for reversal signals. That's why we quickly came out live last night when I was available to tell you guys about these things. I know I'm assuming some people were missing out a little bit on this type of stuff, which is unfortunate. But maybe at the end of it all, it's not going to be the worst thing because we are seeing some rigged behavior. We do see the PCC, actually a lot of people calling for some downturn. So this actually can squeeze for a little bit, right? This behavior can continue for a little bit of time, right? We can see the Dow go hit, well, on the DIA, we can see the Dow go hit something like 425 before people really get bullish, right? They might be like, oh, this is a breakout, and then they get really bullish and we see it kind of break to the downside. Vitamin D, I just take the, it's in my morning shake. So I do have like a protein shake that has a bunch of vitamins in it that I wasn't drinking for a while. I put it in my, I use Google Keeps. If you're someone who really wants to keep track of like, these are the things I need to do tomorrow, I really like Google Keeps. Fantastic. And magnesium. You sound like Abuela. She's always like, you need more magnesium. And I'm like, I know. But, that chick, whenever I go over to that house, she has a magnesium pill ready for me, a magnesium vitamin ready for me. Yeah, it sucks because like back when I was a semi-pro athlete, I was more so keeping track of what I was putting in my body, and I need to get back to that because I was super healthy back then. I would take vitamin D, vitamin C, and a bunch of other like a little stuff, and then I would make sure to drink plenty of water every single morning, do my workouts. It's great, and I felt fantastic. Now I'm like not doing that because I'm not a semi-pro athlete, but Yeah, need to get back to it. Can't believe I only take care of myself when I'm playing sports. Yeah, everything did gap up, and I think that's the reaction you're seeing from the port workers strike. But just because everything gapped up doesn't mean it's all rainbow and sunshine, okay? We gotta be paying attention. There's a reason that the dollar's going up. Yes, that could be because of TLT, but at the end of the day, you just want to see, that dollar looks like it wants to curl up on a weekly scale, and this is the biggest, I believe the dollar, at least I'm, from some research here, the dollar is one of the biggest flights to safety still, even though everyone talks crap about it. The dollar is still one of the biggest flights to safety that you're going to get out there, and that's what I think is happening here. We'll see. Hey, I love your channel, and you helped my trading journey so much. Joe, thank you so much for saying that. Also, I love aquariums, just so we're clear. Me and my wife actually go to some aquariums around the country, so it's actually very funny. But, sorry, ADHD moment. But yeah, I really appreciate you saying that. Just note, at the end of the day, it's all you, man. You're the one doing it. I just tell you how to do it, and then you're like, okay, I gotta put it to work. I gotta be accountable. So give the credit to yourself, Joe, but thank you so much for saying that, and I'm glad, because that's the overall goal of this channel, is to be helpful. Bought a steel case chair. Traders should consider a quality chair. That's one thing too, password. My chair, when I was sitting in this, typing out that thing on Patreon, letting people know, that's right, on Patreon you can get updates, but I was letting people know, like, hey, I haven't slept all night. I don't want to come out here and make a mistake or something like that, or, I want to make sure to be good for you guys. So I'm not going to be live. But when I was doing that, I was sitting in this chair right here, and this chair is absolutely bad for my back. I'm always leaned a little bit forward. Oh gosh, I'm always leaned a little bit forward, and it's just enough pressure on my lower back to hurt me over time. No, they're not going to restrict anymore. They already did the thing. They already did the thing. They already cut. So it's very, 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 very improbable that we see them go back to like raising rates or something like that. Very improbable at this point. Exactly, yeah. People are really calling for the downfall, Martin. Especially above 1. That means they're really saying puts here. And I think that's justified. And so now I think you could see a time where the SPY does actually head higher. I think you could see that. So that's why we're going to pay attention to the 2-hour, right? We're going to see if this actually does. And then you'll notice this a lot of the time, paying attention to the PCC, that as you approach this, the PCC goes dramatically down a lot of the time. And then if it doesn't, you're going to see some squeezing. But if the PCC goes down here, well, then a lot of people get puts. So these levels can still help you out with that type of thing. It means when we get to here, people could see it as a breakout because you're breaking above these highs. Oh, breakout moment, all the retail gets calls, and then, yeah, then the selling actually hits the tape. For the upside for something like TLT, just some levels marked off, by the way. I still think a drop to still a little bit lower would be something to pay attention to. As of right now, yeah, you don't really have any signals here for reversal for TLT. So this is where, I told people, I'm applying that investment because maybe these TLT needs to skyrocket for some reason. Hey, you know what? That investment didn't go too well for me, right? I had to manage the trade for a moment, seeing if that could produce another bounce here. I said if it crosses, then I'll be back into my overall trade. Or investment. Didn't happen, right? So I didn't have to do anything. AMD at the end of the day, I think, is doing a good thing. It's going up. We said in the live video last night, we were just stating, hey, watch out for 169.58. You're reacting up to that level. This would be a level on the 30-minute where a handle can go a long way. All right, this doesn't have to be all ugly. I'm just saying that we need to pay attention because some rigged behavior happening at this moment with that dollar move. So if this wanted to, it could cup and handle, right? That's the way up, cup, handle, awesome. The way down is you start to, I would say, curl back down on an hourly. I think an hourly can give you that good hint. My thoughts for NVIDIA are similar to AMD, right? We're going up to the level, we test these levels in here, right? 125, right? That's what we said yesterday. 125 looks like the likely level. You got to see on the 30-minute, is that going to curl back up, right? It's still positive. So is that just going to curl down again and curl back up, kind of giving you that cup with the handle at 125? Notice we kind of didn't pay attention to this, right? In the video last night, we said, we're not paying attention to that. That looks like a euphoric move. This is the level, 125. We get there, we curl down, curl back up. Good things can still happen. Now, if we're going to see more weakness, you're going to have to probably curl down on an hourly chart, because you see straight across here, we have some major divergence all the way down, right? All the way like this, then it goes flat. So this could be a double top right now on the hourly scale. If the hourly turns down, it might mean this might get a little uglier. You know what I'm saying? Apple is going red. Yeah, Apple giving it up, going to fill the gap. Now we have to see, oh, going red now. So if Apple's not seeing the positivity, and it had a great signal, saw positivity, breakout moment, take out the stops, get people bullish, and then it fades back down. So very interesting to see people getting puts in the overall market. Very interesting to see that. But yeah, Apple not doing it as of right now, so confirming. But the thing is, if this 2 hour doesn't turn up, then no positivity will be had here. Pretty much if the 2 hour doesn't pull up here and cross, you're not going to go test that high. You're not going to go make a new one. So that means you could head in this direction on a shorter time frame. So look if that 30-minute does flip back to negative. Great divergence, so we still can see that bounce. Don't think it's not positive. This is a reversal signal. But if people are flying to the dollar, we have to be prepared for something bad. HGX, something to pay attention to here is going to be, I think it's the 2 hour chart, seeing if that can turn back up. We keep curling back down. All right, we're testing these levels. So we got to see if we can head lower. We're testing great levels. We just want to see if that 2 hour can turn back up. But notice that this is fading very quickly. The housing market can give you a lot of hints, and the housing market can really suffer here because the daily scale has turned down. You have divergence going right here, down. You have divergence on your MACD going down. So this tells me that the housing sector is about to go through something bad, possibly see a reversal in trend. If that's going to happen, then it might not be the prettiest for stocks either. All right, let's see here. Another one to keep your eye on is Meta. I think Meta's a great one. And I would say Palantir. I think those are two that really show you some stuff. Just look if this 30-minute rotates down. I'm really liking Meta. I think Meta could be a great hint for the market at this moment. 30-minute rotates down, bad things can happen, right? We can go into a negative trend. 2 hour, if it's even more, look how steep that divergence is on the MACD. It's steep on the RSI. So if the 2 hour, if you really see weakness here, then you can start to turn down a daily time frame. And the daily's been going up and up for a long time. So don't think this means we can't keep heading higher later. Because of how high Meta is on the MACD, you really could just see some kind of bigger pullback and then end up turning right back up. Microsoft starting to go negative. Remember, Microsoft curling down on the daily scale, trying to go negative at this moment. I think a reaction down to 401 would make sense. In the shorter time frames, it would say, hey, we need to bounce from here. But it's tried to bounce, it's tried to bounce, it's tried to bounce, and it's not. So look if that can curl back down. That could be another confirmation that we're going to head a little bit lower. We do have a gap down in that area as well. Looking over at Palantir again real quick, holding up at higher levels, fantastic. I think that's great for something like Palantir, right? I'm not saying it's like awful. I'm just saying there's reversal signals all across this thing. I think it was on a 2 hour, right? There's a reversal signal here that can happen. And how you would break down is very obvious, right? You'd react down towards something like $36. You'd head down like this, maybe pretty quickly, and then you see some kind of bounce. People are like, okay, this is going to all-time highs again, and then boom, heads to the downside. Which I haven't paid attention to Palantir. I don't even really know if that's all-time high. I believe it is. Oh, okay, we're testing the all-time highs right now. Interesting stuff for sure. Mara seeing a little bit of positivity. Let's go check on Bitcoin for a second. Maybe that can tell us a little something. Well, the daily time frame has not turned up yet. The 2-hour time frame is going up and up and up and up and up, creating the overall, I would say, on the smallest point where you want to create some kind of little cup and handle, right? Something like that would go a long way. But as this is still in negative territory, anytime that rotates down, you're going to break this low, you're going to go make a new one, and maybe that's a steep one, and then you go make a divergence later on, or maybe it's just quick and you make one like this, right? We do something like that. So we'll pay attention to those things. Just note that volatility is turned up on the daily scale with a crash signal absolutely there, right? We see it. We're not unaware of the fact that this is holding above the 50. The 50 has crossed the 200. That is a major top signal, and this is crossed up in positive territory. So in order for us to get really bullish, we got to see volatility turn down. If it does cross down, I think you have a good opportunity for a squeeze, actually. But I can't really see. I think that is improbable. I think you have higher probability to see volatility turn up. Yeah, high PCC, so people really trying to judge the downside. So I think that's why the market might remain flat up in this area, like kind of see some wonkiness. By flat, obviously this is a downward move, but I'm saying like this, right? Or maybe even just keep extending by the end of the day. And then you see at the end of the day up here, people start to get calls and then rug pull. So that's something I'm paying attention to. HGX, oh God, guys, yeah, I just be very cautious. The housing sector is seeing major downside here. Tried to break out, complete fake out, okay? Just be cautious is what this is telling me, right? The Dow starting to fade the move, SPY fading the move, Q's fading the move, XLU giving the reversal signals. Apple starting to fade that move. Tesla trying to hold up. Tesla actually holding up just a tiny bit better. Amazon was the great one. And look at that. We take out the stops. Oh, we're going to do it. We're going to do it. And then, uh-oh. So this all looks very fishy. 30-minute pullback for NVIDIA looks like the most likely option at this point, but you do have the opportunity if the hourly would cross down. If this is more extended here, that's where you want to say, okay, now this has potential to be something really ugly. NVIDIA about to go red at little AR-15. Yeah, it's already red right now. So you got negative 0.03, now pretty much breaking even. So we'll see what happens. Just know, a lot of retail likes to trade Palantir. A lot of retail likes to trade Tesla. Those are holding up a little bit better. So most likely they're looking for people to go to the call side on those, and then we'll see the market suffer a little bit. But the main thing you got to watch is going to be volatility, right? We want to see if volatility can turn up on a 30-minute scale. If that just happens, then you know the most likely thing from there is, look, when that crosses up, if I zoom in on this, it's right here. If that crosses up, well, where's it going to be right when it crosses up? Pretty much on the verge of going positive. So if that goes positive, that would mean we're most likely going to take out this level head higher, and you do have daily momentum with you. Really liking Mara right now. It's still a time to be cautious with even things like Mara, but it doesn't look bad, right? Almost a double bottom down here, slightly higher low. 2-hour curls up, right? We need that 2-hour to really show us something. So you got about an hour and a half, and then that 2-hour can really say, hey, we're crossing up. The thing to pay attention to here is this one's a little bit lower. Do you see the comparison between what we just looked at with volatility and this chart right here? We see it's a little farther away when it's crossing. So you do have the opportunity to go positive, but just know that can just head up to this level and then fall right back down. I don't mind it. I like the 2-hour to cross up. I just want to see positivity from Bitcoin if I'm trading something like Mara, right? I want to see, I would say, because we look at the 4-hour on these type of things, 4-hour does not have a reversal signal. So from this area, you could react up, test that breakdown area, right? Test this area right in here. See if you can pop up, test that area, right? When we break through a zone, right? When we break out of a zone. We break out, we test inside it, break out, test inside it, go higher. Now we break down, test the top, break down, test it, break down. Can we actually test inside of it? Really test that like 63,000 level and then see what happens. Oops. Accidentally hit spacebar. Gold, we haven't looked at this morning. Let's go. Well, we have looked at it a little bit. The 2 hour for gold, very important here because we are looking for the 2 hour for gold to turn up. Just remember that in a lot of crashes, everything goes down except the dollar sometimes. So the fact that we're seeing the dollar really, really scale up is not a good thing for gold. Sorry, it's just not. When you see the dollar go up, it's usually not a good thing for gold, and gold is pulling down at this moment. Confirming down on an hourly scale, really close to the center line. So this says for now that the most likely thing is downside. And maybe it's the first big move for gold to go down because it hasn't gone into negative territory very firmly lately. See if there's a bigger move down for gold. Maybe the futures market can help us out, right? See, futures market tells almost a different story. We like it on our 2 hour. So if the 2 hour really curls down, look at that wick. That's impressive. So 2 hour turns down, bad thing for gold. I'd say 4 hour turns down, bad thing for gold. We'll see if I can have a breakout moment. Daily has crossed for gold, so the most likely thing for gold is to continue to pull back. Nvidia, for the most part, you got to see if this 30 minutes actually going to curl down. Really saying that pullback, I'm leaning towards it. I think it would be a solid point to pull back at least. Then you got to see if it has more steam behind it. But if that doesn't happen, then positivity can be had still for something like Nvidia, right, on the 2 hour scale. We can see that go a little higher. Very interesting market today, isn't it? Excuse me. Had to burp a little bit. Carvana, right? Carvana looks little bad on the 2 hour scale here. It's not going to be the best outlook in the world. Maybe something like an hourly could clear it up. You're getting a cross up. If that crosses right back down, you have multiple divergence points here. I'm going to look at a 4 hour. I'm going to look at a daily now. Yeah, daily crosses down. You're just confirming divergence at a super high point here. So not very, I would say it's not the best time to go into Carvana. Is it the best short opportunity? I don't think this is the best look in the world because you've come up above these little divergence points here, but you still have it all the way across all this RSI down here. That tells me that this can see a bigger pullback. Maybe we just need to pull back to 160, but that does have the opportunity to see some good structure to the downside. Can you see it in front of you? Left. Head. Uh-oh, we react down to something like 125.50, get some kind of big bounce. People are euphoric with earnings, and then that starts to subside. So earnings, 50-50 flip. Be careful with that guy. Took a put and did a complete 180 on TSCO, Tractor Supply. Doing a 180, I don't know the expirations you have or anything like that, but I would say that this 30 minute, if it does curl up, then positivity can be had here. And then the real opportunity might be, hey, you might not be wrong, right? You may not be wrong. You may just be wrong right now. Because if this curls up and does this, you may just be wrong right now. And then that turns down, you see that confirm, right? We see this pop up like this and then turn down. That would be the look that I would look for in this guy. Looks like a good thing to me. 2 hour scale here is really, really high. So a 2 hour pullback further than this looks likely. I would like us to pull back to at least 285. 285 would be the better pullback. And you do have a gap there as well. But yeah, 30 minute signal can really tell you like, hey, oh, just wrong with the timing a little bit. That's why we manage trades, right? That's why we teach that in the course. Everything's still 90% off down in the description right now. With all the craziness in the market, I just had to sit back and think about it. I'm like, let's just leave it for a little bit. So if you want to learn over the weekend, the course is there in the description for you to learn over the weekend. You can learn how to swing trade and how to use these indicators with the using technical indicators with an option strategy in there for you for just like 150 bucks, right? It's a great, great deal. Any more data coming out? Well, you can see that the data, mostly we just have a Fed speaker. That seems to have already happened. And then we get some oil stuff. Next week, looking forward, we have some Fed speakers as well on Monday. And then we get FOMC minutes on Wednesday. Sorry, I had to sneeze. Right before the core inflation rate. So, volatility, got to look at that on a 30-minute, right? That 30-minute curls up. You have daily momentum behind you. It means something bad can happen. PCC still at 1, though. Very interesting if we see a drop. And yeah, Kyle. And I think that's something with the portion of what the level of volatility we need to look for. And also, Kyle, I just want to say, this market's been very, very tricky. There's been a lot of times in the previous, I think, 3 weeks where I've had to manage trades pretty quickly or take profit earlier. So it's even skillful people, I would consider myself a skillful trader. I genuinely think that this market is a little more complex these days. That's why we're leaving the course for that discount still, right? It's just been a little crazy because it's like every time we see a big signal that could lead us down, we just get one tiny piece of good news that turns us back up, right? Every time we see a big signal that could turn us down, like this week, we get one tiny piece of news like, oh, the strike is over. So it's just it's a crazy one. That's where management of the trade will really help. Also, something that can help too, Kyle, in times like these, just a little tip is something that I'm looking for are the bigger time frames, right? Taking out longer expiration, looking at the bigger time frames, right? Only taking 2 hours, only taking dailies and stuff like that. That's something that I'm looking into for the most part. So I do have months out. I pretty much am playing all my options for the end of the month. NVIDIA is going really negative. Tesla, yeah, someone mentioning Tesla kind of giving it up here. So getting that reaction here, still potential to curl up, right? Still potential for this to be some structure, but not the best look. It really doesn't look like a good look to me at this moment, at least for a trade. Then you see NVIDIA curling down on the 30-minute, 30-minute pullback. Does make a lot of sense here. Yeah, by extending it out to just the end of the month, I can really be like, okay, this won't lose me a ton of money if I need to manage the trade. Because I'm having to manage trades a little bit more over the last few weeks, I could say, okay, if I take the longer out expiration, they're not going to hurt me as much. But if they see that move, I'm still going to see that good production in the price, right? Nail getting a smackdown. Yeah, the housing sector in general getting an absolute smackdown. This is a very, very bad sign for the market too. I just want you to be aware that's a major signal. Once that signal starts to produce big red bars like that, you got to look at the weekly scale and say, look at that weekly signal. This is garbage, and this tells you that this is a very bad signal, and we can see major downside in the housing market. Why would we see major downside in the housing market? Well, I don't really care why. I just want to know, hey, if we're gonna see downside, then I'm gonna see this weekly cross. And if the housing market's really gonna suffer, why are we gonna go through on the weekly scale maybe some kind of housing crash? That's not gonna be a good sign. That's why I think these yields actually will need to flip back down to going down. I think they need to. Most likely, we're gonna go through something bad over the next few. And it's funny because leading into the election, it's going right into it. Palantir, I wanted to go look at that for a moment because that made an upward move, right? Made an upward move. Very, very good. Sorry, this is on a weekly scale, but you see how we are starting to fade the move. Okay, this doesn't mean it's all bad. I just want to pay attention anytime that 30-minute can curl back up. If this is going to continue the trend, I'm going to see that 30-minute curl back up. We're very overbought, so I'm really thinking a pullback here does make sense. See if that can curl back up. If we're going to see more weakness than that, watch if the 2-hour crosses. That's going to be a big signal because if the 2-hour crosses, you're going to be down in these levels. You might get some kind of little bounce like this and then just end up curling down. So Palantir, very interesting there. Let's look at the futures market. Let's look at this stuff. You see, this 2-hour signal is good because the 2 hour is pretty much the 30-minute. These aren't, I don't think these are the right levels, by the way, just so you're aware. That is a big fade there. Wait a second. 2 nights ago was, what was yesterday? 10-3. At like 2 a.m., there was that spike down at 2 a.m. that I saw. Very crazy stuff. Oil, we get some oil stuff. Not really showing the best reversal signals. Okay, there you go. So daily momentum taking over for oil too. Notice oil kind of looks like almost like the dollar at this point. Rapid rising in the dollar. BCC below 1. Yeah, they really wanted to go fully to the call side, though. I wouldn't be surprised if they just move sideways, put the market up a little bit, convince people it's going higher as far as the SPY goes. Just want to see if 2 hours are curling up. If 2 hours curl up, your signal is saying, hey, that's still the most probable move is higher, right? Needs to go a little lower to fill the gap. 2 hour signal, what we're paying attention to here. If that just curls up, we can see that positivity. Jobs report, the big thing was you got another revision. This is the big thing. That's massive again, right? That's a big deal. So just note, this number will completely change next month and most likely it will come down. And the main thing you need to know, Anubis, about the jobs report is it caused this reaction in the dollar. So something about the jobs data caused a big reaction from the dollar, aka people might have sold a lot and gone into cash. And if you do look into, you know, this week, again, I like to go through, I don't watch a lot of other YouTubers, but at times I like to see what they're talking about. And so I was looking at what FX Evolution was talking about, and there is, on his side of things, he's seeing a lot of insider selling as well. So not only am I calling insider trading or insider selling, but he's saying some insider selling is happening as well. So yeah, this is what you want to do, Anubis. When you see that data, look at the reaction of the market and then pay attention to the rig behavior. Look at the dollar, look at the PCC. So the only thing that's holding, I think, the market back from seeing a sudden drop is this, because a sudden drop would help out retail right now. That's at least my opinion. Oh, I have looked at it, Corey, but I'll look at it again. I don't mind bouncing around today, guys. I really don't. Something you have to notice for gold is the 2 hour rejecting here. That is a big deal. The dollar as well, something you need to note. The dollar sees strength. That's usually not a good thing for gold, right? The dollar and gold are kind of negatively correlated a lot of the time. But if I go over to the futures market, there's a wonky, weird, different look. We did get this wick down during, I would say, probably that data, right? We saw that come down at 7:30, and then by 8 o'clock, we're going right back up. So, but you see the initial reaction to the data here is a big deal. That's the initial reaction to the data at this moment. So I would take that into consideration and say, hey, if this 4 hour can curl back up, positivity, awesome. But right now it's curled down, which means we should expect negativity overall. And as we go and look at the daily scale, you're going to notice in the futures, we do have the daily crossing down. Not a good sign for gold, okay? It means a pullback is the most likely scenario at this moment, just to be clear. A pullback is the most likely thing. Let's pop out to a weekly scale because I think that you might... Okay, you just have the divergence on the RSI. I saw that for a moment, but it's a little bit up for the MACD, so not the best reversal signal. Still a pullback most likely scenario there for gold on the futures market, that is. AMC flipped down to negative here, not able to get that breakout moment. Oh, I gotta get a drink. Ooh. All right, now you want to do this 30-minute, right? Because we saw that 30-minute Give that little signal. Now let's see if our timing is just off. Look at that. Good reaction to the center line, cross down. See if our timing's just off. What if it just goes like this? That's what we're looking for. But as of right now, if that crosses down in negative territory, that's a bad thing. Do not make some kind of YOLO or something, right? We don't YOLO around here. We wait, we see if the reversal signal's there, especially in something like AMC, which could potentially go up to $2,000 a share. Potentially, right? Potentially. We'll say this. Potentially could go up to $22 a share. That's more reasonable. But if this did curl down, it means if this curls up here and it's going to go to even $7 a share, let's go really, really small. Well, then is me waiting for the reversal signal really that rough? If I get it at 440 versus trying to YOLO it at 428. Looks like a chop day, made 100% today. Let's go, little AR-15, let's go. But yeah, that's why we can wait for reversal signals in a lot of this to actually confirm in a lot of these stocks, because it will see that extended move down most of the time. You know, unless we're in that super bullish behavior, unless volatility is extremely low, just so you're aware, volatility is not extremely low. But we did get that reaction to the reading of 20, and we're rejecting off of it. So we do have potential to still head higher. All right, guys, I'm going to leave you on the spot for just a moment. I'm going to go use the restroom real quick. This is a great opportunity to, if you would like to, it's completely free, like the video, subscribe, do all that good stuff. And then if you want to go check out those courses, you can go look at those links down in the description. I will be right back in about 2 minutes. And we're back! We don't have to, Kalani, we don't have to go higher because puts are higher, but we could stay relatively in a little zone from where we are at in order to convince people to go to the other side, which I think is what's sort of happening now, right? We are seeing things slightly turn down, but we're mostly seeing them like relatively stay up in these levels, right? We're not going down to the gap fill sporadically or anything. And then right as I say that, we're gonna go gap fill, aren't we? But yeah, the dollar's higher, PCC is higher, so they might keep it flat to convince people to go to the call side. Turn down for what? Turn down for jobs data. Turn down for Housing market, something going on with this housing sector, man. That is just, gosh, that is just awful. Are you watching Worlds? I have been trying to watch a little bit in my morning, weirdly enough. I do like to watch some League of Legends. Which, actually might go see. Who played today? Oh, G2's on right now? Yeah, I want to get back into League, honestly. But I played it a couple days ago. I just get so frustrated with it, man. Teammates, because I play mid and jungle. And my goodness. If you're jungling, your teammates are D-bags. Still waiting for volatility to turn up on this 30-minute. I'm going to keep looking through some stuff while we keep it on volatility just for a moment. I'm going to go look through some stuff real quick and see where we are getting those reactions in this overall market. Looking at Palantir. Palantir, I believe, is above, at this moment, by the way, Palantir, I believe, is above the weekly expected move. It is, so something like Palantir, just a key one to pay attention to at this moment. This move is outside of a weekly expected move, which means we have a 68% chance to do that by the end of the day. And weirdly enough, it's a little more than that, actually. We have a chance to do that by the end of the day. Get back into this area. But I don't think they want, you know, they don't want to pay out onto the put side. So just gotta see if volatility can turn up. Right, so when you're seeing kind of the dollar screaming higher and stocks are higher at the same time, but the PCC is high, what we want to pay attention to are major confirmations of the signals, right? We still can pay attention to our signals. Doesn't mean we can't head down. It just means we need that confirmation in our signals. That's what I would say, at least. 30-minute, not even able to go positive. If that just remained up here for this bar, if this just remained a little higher and then went a tiny bit higher, that would have curled up a 2-hour. Look at that, it's so close to crossing. So close, yet. So close, yet. So far away. Oui, oui. The yield curve yield curve did reinvert. What the hell? Oh, so people are saying we need to raise those rates fast. So, and here's the thing too with this, okay? And I didn't really think about it this way until really this morning when we really were talking about, you know, the fact that the strike is over. Look how many people went to the grocery store, like, right? We're trying to get there because we could have seen inflation. Well, just all the country going to all their stores really fast could have caused some inflation. Kind of crazy. And Young Loon, I am kind of with you on that. The only problem with that is the PCC. This would pay out if we saw a rug pull for retail. They don't want to do that. So I think you could stay relatively flat, if not up, by the end of the day, right? What if we land up by the end of the day and then we see the rug pull over the weekend? That's something I'm paying attention to. Home Depot still doing some stuff. Is that thing crashing yet? Yup. Remember, this is what we talked about earlier today. We said a daily pullback makes sense here. Watch for us because we could go all the way down to 377. The only other place we could react to is these little wicks in here. I like these little wicks because they coincide with these wicks. So something like if we get a smaller pullback, 395 was what we first said. Second level, I'd really be paying attention to something like 377, 376. It's in confluence with some liquidity in there. So, but bye-bye Home Depot. Oh my goodness. I'm going to go look at some Max Payne. It really did look like Google was going to see a better bounce. Where the fuck? Okay, there we go. It really looked like this was going to turn up again, and then you see it start to fade, right? We see that it's going to, we're like, oh, this is going to break above the high. Well, now, if I do this, and I look at this, and I go, wow, that's a major 2-hour signal. You know what I'm going to see right here? I'm going to see a little 30-minute divergence. Look at this. And by little, I mean not so little, right? We have divergence all across this 30-minute. We're close to the center line. Watch out below is what that's telling me. And Roger, thank you so much for subscribing today. Really appreciate you being here. And of course, where the heck is Short Friday? I want to say hi to Shorts Friday every single Friday because it's in his name, you know? The only one I need to say hi right now who's probably lurking is Lurkin Luke. Now, so the 2-hour rejection divergence is what's really happening. The 2-hour rejection divergence. This is what I want to see, though. If that 30-minute confirms down, that means that downside is very probable for Google. That means that this daily scale is most likely going to curl down. You are by the center line. You're close enough to the center line. This is what you really want to say to yourself if you're looking for something. When that does cross, I want you to imagine, right? Kind of just draw it out. Well, this yellow line might go up a little bit more on the next bar. But if this starts to go flat, okay. And then if it starts to maybe come down, it's going to be relatively close to crossing just a couple of bars, and you might be crossing. So this could be the start of something bad, and we could end up all the way towards this. I'm going to just tell you right now, we could end up all the way towards 140.97. But there is an opportunity here for us to be okay. Okay, you can see it in the signals here. You can see it in the structure. Boom, right there. There's your neckline. You reacted up to it. We see divergence. This doesn't look like a good time to get in, but maybe there is going to be a good time to get in at some point. Maybe that's when we do something like this, because then you'd have a left, a head, and a right shoulder. All right. Do they really want this market as people are suffering? There's some votes and stuff like that that people need to buy. Do they really want to see this thing go down for a long time, especially going into Thanksgiving, Christmas, the holiday season? That's an interesting one. And you notice I'm just saying that because I believe that pretty much, you know, people are in control of this market. And I think about, you know, the fact that 90% of stocks or something like that are owned by 10% of like the rich, the top 10% own 90% of the stocks. Then you would just say, well, they're in control of the market. So maybe they're able to manipulate it based on what they want. So what would they want right now? And maybe it's all dependent on that little election that's coming up. I don't know. But for the most part, I would just say, hey, if this curls down, bad things. But if it can curl down and then reverse back up, good things. So this is really bad, but if it can turn around, right? We see some kind of little 2-hour signal in here and then it curls up with earnings. Okay, good. But earnings is a 50-50 flip, so be a little careful with that. SMCI. Good divergence. Kind of flat, really flagging there. 2-hour? Yeah, really flagging. If that 2-hour crosses down, I'm not happy with that. Let's go back over to something like AMD real quick. There it is. AMD, good rejection. See if that 2-hour rejects. If the 2-hour confirms up, then the most likely thing is to go higher. Okay, very clear about that. Be very clear. Because look where you're at, too. That 169.58 level is pretty much I'll do it on a 4-hour, but is pretty much a cup and handle level. Now, I know this isn't a cup and handle, right? This is not a cup and handle, but reacting to that level is great. Consolidation at that level is great. So if that 2-hour curls up, you can see a pretty solid move, maybe to 183.20 over time. HD, as far as support goes, it's going to be this level right here, this 395.50. You can see that coincides with the previous high. So if you were kind of looking like, oh, the breakout moment where this is going to go to the major highs was when you got across this. You notice in that area, we got a little bit of consolidation. So I'd say this is your first support level here towards 395.50. And then the major drop would be more down towards this area here. I would say 380 all the way down to 376, right in this little zone. Because if I pull that across, what are you going to see? You're going to see some liquidity over there. So that's why I like that little area. So you got one here, one down here. Start to break those, though. It's not looking pretty. 4-hour is confirming down. Daily's probably next, so. There's always bounces. That's why I take out longer out expirations. As far as volatility goes, we got to keep our eye on this all day. That is just a good tip, right? Keep your eye on volatility. Why? Someone in the chat, why would I keep saying pay attention even if a little 30-minute curls up for volatility? Of course, Lurkin Luke. All right, fine. We'll bring back the old thumbnail, guys. Gaw. Gaw. I shouted you out a little bit ago, Lurkin Luke. I was like, the only one I'm missing today, and he's probably lurking, is Luke. Mark Welsh a couple days ago, thank you for subscribing. I don't know that I said thank you for you subscribing, but I hope I did. Yeah, so the reason, I'll just tell you. The reason I'm paying attention if this little 30-minute turns up is because of all this. Exactly, Nazim, great job. Great job, we love to see it. Because the daily momentum is with you here. Daily momentum is with you, and I'm gonna give you another piece of why I'm paying attention. We're at 20. We're at the level where if you get past it, bad things can happen, right? 20 is a level 2 mark off on your volatility charts, on your VIX chart. What's another reason I want to pay attention? Because we have the major crash signal right here. This, the 50 getting above the 200 is a major crash signal. Another reason, because not only do we have that crash signal, it is maintaining it and pointing up, and the price action right now is above it. So this 30-minute does matter, right? It means this is a probable move. If this would curl up, it's probable to see something bad happen in the market. That's why we're paying attention to volatility very, very closely. I cannot believe these didn't reinvert, right? Yeah, they didn't reinvert. Yeah, because the 10 years higher than the 2-year. Yeah, those are all reasons to pay close attention to volatility, which means bad things can happen in the SPY. But are we going to fill a gap? And are we going to fill a gap and go higher because the PCC is higher? Are we going to fill this gap, turn back up, right? That's what I want to pay attention to as well. Crazy stuff. Dollar remaining to hold up a little bit better. No even 30-minute divergences there. So the most likely that does hold. The Dow going down and filling the gap. Now we have to see, is it going to get that reaction up by the end of the day? Oh, Kyle, I love it. You're calculating the weekly expected moves for a stock you're paying attention to. Love it. Love it. Two-hour curl-up's all we need. Weirdly enough, you guys want to see something crazy? You guys want to see something? So cup and handle, all that, we're talking about that, right? And then you head a little bit lower, and then you create a little handle here, okay, right? You know, with this level. But if you really pay attention to this, and then you look left, head, and equal right shoulder. That's kind of crazy. Left head, if that's a right shoulder, oof. Yeah, failed breakout, and you can see that from the 2-hour. You're waiting for that 2-hour confirmation to make sure, and nope. But if you caught the 30-minute signal, it's still a good trade. Then you say, oh, I made money, and then you go, oh, this is fading fast, right? You have to understand, even though I was in some of these plays, I took profit right at the open. Why did I take profit right at the open? Just because of this. This is enough to tell me, hey, be careful. So I'm going to take profit. I saw a good move. You know what I'm saying? UUP. UUP, La Quinta. UUP. Right? Now you want to, I do my analysis if I ever take a play with UUP. I'm doing my analysis on Dixie. But the cool part about UUP is the lower or higher low rejection here curled back up into positive territory. Bam, got above that 200. So looks like we're not breaking with the breakdown area, right? If we're paying attention to this like a, you know, because it is a regular stock, this would be our breakdown area. We gapped above that today, just so you're aware. We gapped above that. I think so, Young. I think you're pretty right. I mean, it depends on what you mean by soon, right? Because technically, we still could go on for about, what, 17 more months? I think, though, because they've cut the rates, we've really sped up that timeline. I think the maximum amount you have left before seeing a crash is March of 2025. Got out 100% on HD. Too many L's this week. I had to take this win, even though it looks like it's just starting. I think that's perfectly fine. Take your win. There will always be another trade setup, all right? Even if it makes that major move down. You never know. Maybe there's a 30-minute bounce and you get another opportunity. So I think that's fantastic. Very, very responsible. Move on Nail. Let's go check that out. Nail is something I really... oh, gosh, guys. Yeah, the market's probably going to crash. Anyway... I'm just saying that, and by probably, right, the word probably means higher probability. So Nail, things like the housing sector, they lead the market a lot of the time. Something like XLU can tell you when things are rough, right? XLU been scaling up for a long time. You need to see when that changes. That's changing. That's changing. Right as the SPY is getting that divergence point. So XLU turning down, divergence all across this. Divergence actually goes all the way across from these levels. So you do have a divergence on XLU. You have a divergence on SPY at the same time. Remember, that's a signal we are paying attention to. SPY has confirmed it. XLU is confirming it today. Yeah, stock market crash is definitely on the table. Now, we have to see if these things can turn back up. There's still room for that center line, right? We still have that monthly range. If we see a signals like we did here, signals like we did here with NVIDIA, then we can see major moves up, major moves up. So if it goes like this, and we see a major, basing out signals here, we could still get that next move up. All right, we'll pay attention to that. For the most part, something I want to do here, I know... Okay, this was the divergence point. I like that point better. Let me just think about this for a second. That might be not the steepest thing. Maybe we'll draw that up. I'm going to leave that up for a little bit, see how I like it. Dollar is DXY. DXY is what I follow, yeah. Let's see, for NVIDIA, we see this, all right? We see the 2 hour able to cross. That means the probability of going up is there, but that's where you really want to pay attention to the shorter time frames. This 2 hour actually crossed up when? On the gap, really, pretty much. So did you really have the best opportunity? Well, right now it says 30-minute pullback. So all you have to do is sit here, right? And then you have to sit here, sit here, sit here. If that 30-minute can go green, you can see something good. But I'm just telling you, what I did today was sold out of all my longs after that nice bounce. Because of this. This is enough to make me go, oh, maybe sit on my hands. Maybe look for a trade to the downside. Because there's a reason the dollar is going up dramatically, and stocks too. And that could be TLT popping down. But I just think it's very improbable for this to only be bonds selling. And even if bonds are selling, a lot of the time we do follow those first, so then we'll see that big reaction to where the separation happens. But that tells me maybe I need to look for opportunities. Well, Meta, if that curls down on a 30-minute right now, I'm just saying, that is reversal signal to a T. You got to know how to manage trades and things like that, but this is a major, major thing to pay attention to. You want it to look a little curvy. The hourly chart there is going to be a good one. What can that do? Well, we can start to really curl down on the 2 hour. What's the 2 hour have? You have another 2 hour divergence, which tells you the daily chart can start to curl down. What's that been doing? That's been going up for a very long time. It's very high up into positive territory, so it could at least see a bigger pullback. There you go. We just did all the analysis in like 2 seconds. I had a short on volatility. So technically, I guess I didn't take a long, I took a put on volatility, and then I sold it right away in the morning. Crash, yeah, crash can be, so crash would mean crash. Correction would mean 5 to 10% down, right? People would call that a crash. I would say that's overall a bigger pullback, right? So like even Meta, we're still talking about the bigger pullback, right? I'm like, oh, this could crash. But it also could just like do this and then turn right back up, which would be what? How many percent from where the price is at right now? 5.5%. That'd be a good pullback. So I guess I wasn't technically long though. I misspoke. I was short volatility. I saw volatility with the little 15-minute divergence. I started to scale into a short position. So I just took a little short. It wasn't the most productive thing, but all I did was I had a short starting to build over here, took it again over here, boom to the downside, take my profit, I'm out. PLTR, Palantir YOLO, it's gonna keep going. Well, the thing is, Palantir looks really, really strong. It really does. Like, it does look strong, even on the 30-minute. We're mostly talking about some kind of pullback, right? That's what we'd mostly be talking about on the short time frame. The only thing is, if there's a little bit more selling in this thing, and the 2 hour sees that drop, you can see this start to escalate quickly because you do have that very steep point of divergence. You're kind of holding it across, right? We're holding it a little across. So it is violating that. So this could be a whole new trend, right? But I just want to see, because of the dollar, because I know a lot of retail likes this stock, I think that this could be one that suffers a little bit. Doesn't have to. Doesn't have to. I'm just looking for an opportunity there. No correction this year, and the thing is, that is 100% possible. But as the dollar has bottomed out, that's a little bit, I would say, more likely to see a correction or something like that. Now, I would tell you this though. This is telling you crashes are going to happen. That's telling you a crash is going to happen. I'm just being honest. That's what the housing sector is saying. Now, does that mean I myself am going to say, hey, this is a crash signal, I'm just going to take puts and risk all my money? No, I'm still playing the signals, right? I'm still keeping a level head, looking for the opportunities, but this is a very bad sign. The housing sector seeing this up here is a bad sign. Whoa, that's not chill. Yeah, no real good signal to catch this drop, to be honest. No real good signal to catch the drop, in my opinion. Just a great move. 30-minute curl up, positive territory, just stayed positive. They do make magic happen, right? All right, see, here's the thing. See, now we didn't really fill the gap, but we did go down to these levels. Okay, let's see what happens. It's just funny, the difference in me and my wife's day. I'm down here dealing with the corruption and the trading and money and stress and all that good stuff. Talking to you guys is a lot of fun. And then she's like, I'm going to a pumpkin patch. Let's go look at nail again. Almost 10% down on the day. Wow. Just wow. Makes sense though, doesn't it? This is what I'm saying. Daily signals are fantastic. Look at this. Daily signal here. Short. All right, you see that produce. We're topping in less than 2 weeks. We could be topping like today. LOL. Women. Women. I love that meme. It's so funny. She does too, by the way. You said that after a 0.5 rate cut, it usually never leads to a crash short term. The downside happens at least months later. Yes, that is correct. Months later. But how many months did he say? Because a lot of the time you'll see, at least when the yields uninvert, we will see some kind of 18-month, or it would be like, what, 6 to 18-month upside. But the reason that I'm saying it could be sped up is because those yields didn't uninvert by themselves, really. They uninverted because of the 0.25 cut, which they then increased to the 0.5 cut. So the increase of the 0.5 cut, I think, sped up the timeline. And so I think we're either going to see something bad here in the next month or two, or we're going to see some good positivity, and that'll lead into something like January to March time. My bank statement, you were one of the Bank of America people? BCAB, you were one of the Bank of America people? I mean, so did you have access to your funds? Like, what happened there? Yeah, see, that's kind of my thinking, Nazim. So yeah, we're in a similar thinking. Which candidate gets elected will be it, and I think it'll just be, hey, let's let it crash if Trump gets in. Let's give him a bunch of crap to deal with, which is just so wrong. So wrong to do. Like, I don't care how you feel about someone, but making all of Americans suffer, or all of the market suffer, all of other people suffer because you don't like who got into office is just sad to me. But it is what it is. It is what it is. We have people that, and even to a point, you could say the same thing. Trump, we have egoists all around. Trump's an egoist, but I think they all are. The craziest part for me was watching the best snipers in the world that we have protecting our politicians, and they would hear what they think about the American people, and that's crazy. That's crazy. Maybe we can talk about that in a second. I gotta run upstairs just for 2 seconds. I'm gonna go say bye to the girls. They're going to a pumpkin patch, and we're gonna stay live for just a little bit longer today, okay, guys? So I'll be right back in a couple of minutes. I'm just gonna go say bye to them before they go do girly stuff. Oh, shoot. Let me put you guys back on the SPY. This here, just daily cross up into positive territory. That's all this looks like to me. If I want to look for reversal signals, well, 2-hour pullback's the only thing that I could really see for this happening, just to be clear. And then I'm going to leave you guys over on the SPY for a moment. All right, let's see if that 2-hour can cross up while I'm gone, all right? Be right back. And we're back. Baby girl's not fully awake yet. She's still napping. She's snoozing. What do you mean by repo reverse? He's talking about the reverse repo market. Which, I will be honest about the reverse repo market. I've literally studied it so many times, and I don't know why my brain can't wrap around it too much, but isn't it like, oh my God, see, like I'll probably have to go over it again now that someone brought it up. BOA. Really? What did Bank of America do? Bank of America absolutely sees a huge glitch where no one can see the amount of money that they have, and it says $0 in their account. It goes up. There's a chance, but just so you're aware, the dollar is still, even though everyone talks shit on it, the dollar is still the probably most popular safe haven that people don't really talk about. and you do have major reversal signals. I think you have a time where you can still see pullback in the dollar. But as this is just, it's never pulled back, right? We've been saying that for a couple of days now almost, and the only pullback we've gotten is this little one right here. So you've gotten above this zone, you always have that opportunity to react back into it, but as you're breaking above these levels, I don't think this is fake by any means. That's just my opinion. Am I seeing the signals provide a crash right now or some kind of correction right now? Not necessarily. We're just seeing if this 2 hour can curl up into positive territory, right? That's all we're really doing here. We're just seeing if it can curl up. If it can, great. Now, I would say that the only thing that's leaning us towards a crash or some kind of bigger pullback, a correction, is the housing sector, right? The housing sector is flashing red right now. That's all I know. The housing sector is saying bad freaking things. Volatility is up towards 20, but not able to cross up. We got to see if that 30-minute and 2 hour can cross back up. You have the daily crossed here for volatility. So it's not just, is the dollar going up? You have dollar going up. You have volatility with a crash signal, positive daily scale turned up. You have the housing sector flashing red as well. You have the potential for World War III. You have an election that's very, very important that elitists want a certain person to win. You have potential for inflation just increased a little bit because of the strike, right? A lot of people flock to the stores. Maybe we see a spike in inflation. There's like a million things going on right now. So I think the dollar's move is justified. I think this move in volatility is justified. But I want to see, because of this little 2 hour signal here for volatility, is this just going to be some kind of freak out that then just turns down on a daily scale for volatility and we just see this go up? So how I'm going to see that is if the SPY curls up and we see weakness in the dollar finally, that would be, I think, a good signal to pay attention to. As far as the military cash power goes for, yes, that is the, I would think, worst part about America right now, is that very powerful people are using elongated wars that never have an end to make countless amounts of money. And this is not a Democrat-Republican thing. I don't like the Cheney family because of that. If you didn't know, I think it was Dick Cheney. He's the CEO of, I think it was Halliburton or something like that. And they were, or a subsidiary of that, and their name, not Halliburton, but the subsidiary name, was on every single product overseas in Afghanistan and Iraq. Yes. So when you see in the news and on Twitter that people are praising the Cheneys for wanting a certain person to be the president, just know why they want that certain person to be president. It makes them a shit ton of money off of the deaths of Americans, off of the deaths of other people in other countries. Sorry, that's just me. I don't like that happening, but that's where you go, oh, can I trade Halliburton? You know what I mean? That's when you're, you know, that's how it is. Yeah, the strike's over for now. It will continue in 2025. Yeah, it's encouraging to know, like, you can always look into why someone is making a decision, and you know if an elitist is doing anything, it's most likely for money and power. That's not a good thing. I'm sorry to do this all of a sudden, but weirdly enough, I have to hop off. I do have to hop off. I'm going to see if I can come back and go live in a little bit later on today. I'll tell you what, 5 minutes. If you guys want me to look at anything, put it in the chat. Quickly. Quickly. St. Thomas. Farm animals? Ooh, I don't like farm animals. Tesla, enjoy the pumpkins. Yeah, we'll see if I can go to that. I have some other stuff to work on as well. Let's look at Tesla real quick. Tesla, 2 hour curling up would be a fantastic sign. We had some okay signals here, but not the best. I think that a little period of consolidation, just a little move like that, can go a long way. Left head, right shoulder, but the ultimate signal to pay attention to is the 2 hour curling up. Obviously, if we're going to head down, watch for that 30-minute to cross to the downside. As we look, you want to look at Ripple? Here, Doug, I'll go over Ripple in... Oh, shoot. Let's just do it. Let's look at XRP. Is this going to be the one? Is Ripple only 51 cents? Really? Clarify that for me, Doug. I thought Ripple was worth more than that. This isn't the right one. It can't be. Okay, this is it. For Ripple, this is a bad sign. I'm just going to be honest with you. What you want to see here for this to be a bullish thing, really see a breakout. This isn't a terrible level to be at. You're still close to the 200, but as you're breaking down, you got to be a little worried about it. You need this daily to flip back around. Does that have a chance to flip back around? Well, we can look at the 4-hour scale and just see that is flagging. So that tells me a 2-hour is most likely getting up towards that center line. We are getting up towards the center line. No reversal signals in sight here. So not a good sign for Ripple going forward. As far as it goes with Boeing, and thank you, Vital, for the ETF. Okay, we'll go look at that. Thank you so much for the $2. Boeing, when we go look at that, we have a ton of reversal signals. So what am I really looking for here? Well, I'm looking for that signal where it can go positive because you have a ton of reversal signals in here for Boeing. And the daily scale is what you want, but the daily scale is not really giving you like, oh, the 2 hour is going to curl up the daily. So what I'd be paying attention to is 2 hour. Can we really curl up into positive territory? First of all, I think that curling up is fine if you know how to manage a trade and you notice that we do have overall really kind of coiling up here for the most part. We just see this is pretty much in a downward channel. And so if this can break out of that channel, I'd be pretty happy with it. That's what I would say about Boeing. We can always look at a bigger time frame, see if the 4 hour is able to curl up. 4 hours curling up as of right now, but I'd really see if that 2 hour signal pops up for you. Time to wait for the dump then. Yeah, it doesn't mean there's no opportunity to invest in a lot of things that are at low prices, like, you know, Ripple going down would be an okay thing if you really know about it. Ew. MSCI Mexico ETF. Okay, I don't think I've ever looked at this, but you do have a 4 hour curling up, 2 hour curling up into positive territory. That looks like it could be a breakout moment, to be honest. Lower high, probably on the daily scale. Daily scale, rejecting, turning up into positive territory. This looks like a good move. It looks like potential for a good move going forward. Are the signals like the clearest? Not necessarily, but I think everything's positive and it's relatively early in that positivity. So I kind of like that move. What was another one someone wanted? Exxon. Let's go look at Exxon. I always call it Exxon because that's the ticker. Exxon seeing some good upside. No real reversal signals here. So the 30-minute, what are we looking for? The 30-minute does. So at this moment, I would say if this 2 hour does pull down, the most likely thing is to pull back, and most likely you're going to react to somewhere that had a lot of touches. So you see how there's a touch, a touch, a touch, a touch. So somewhere in this little area right here is probably where you're going to migrate down to. Right, you probably head down like this 2 hour and then see if that can get that next move up, curling up by that center line. That's what I'd be looking for Exxon, but the 30-minute shows some divergences in there. I think that's the most likely thing. This is still positive though, very overbought, so I think a pullback's likely here according to that 30-minute. And exactly, Robert, exactly. And the proof is in what, the pudding? What's the thing? Proofs in the put. I don't know what it is, but all I know is things were pretty peaceful for 4 years. About what was that, like? Might have been from like 2016 to like, I don't know, maybe it was 2020. What changed around 2020? I can't figure it out. Maybe you guys can. Anyway, looking forward to see someone asked for AMD. Let's go look at AMD real quick. And thank you again so much, Vital, for that $2 donation. Appreciate you. 2 hour for AMD is curled up. This is a great sign. I'm not going to lie. This is a good sign for the stock. It means we can head higher. And then we want to watch out if it creates any kind of reversal signal because I'm close to the center line. If it doesn't create that, then good. It's just going to remain bullish. But that's something I would pay attention to. At the same time, we can look at a 30-minute chart. We can go into this and say, okay, is there a reversal signal here? Not necessarily. But something that can happen from the 30-minute before that 2 hour sees more positivity is, what if we're reacting up to this level with that big cupping, we get that handle, right? So we pull down to the center line, then we curl up. That's the main take for Oh, AMD. For some reason, I forgot which stock I was looking at. NVIDIA, Kalani, we can go look at that for a last second here. We noticed that that 30-minute curl down tried to pull back. You have a similar story here with NVIDIA where it's reacting to a key level. We're kind of going up to there. We could maybe get that handle, and maybe this is just your handle right now. So that is going positive. That's a good sign. But for the most part, we still got to see, is this 2 hour going to rotate down? Are we going to start curling up on a bigger time frame like a 4? And you are. You just have 2.5 hours left. And this is still a time to just be cautious overall because major move from the dollar. That's what I would say for that. AMD, the best entry, that's kind of hard to say because we, on this channel, we're talking about the fact that there were divergences here on the 30-minute and the 2 hour. You see those. That was a good entry. This here had some 30-minute divergence right there. Not as good as NVIDIA, but it did have it. So this was the good entry. If you want to take any kind of curl up into positive territory at this point, this would technically be your good entry. But I just want you to be aware you have to know how to manage your trades, okay? Mr. Engineer, just really know how to manage your trades. And what that means is if a shorter time frame is curling down, it's impossible for a 2 hour to go up, right? If the shorter time frame is seeing weakness and you see that cross on a MACD, then that means that this is physically impossible to go up until you see that show positivity again. So what you want to pay attention to here is this is the moment. This says a good thing can happen for AMD, but I have to be aware. Where's my weekly range? Where's my daily range? Those are over on Patreon in the description. If we react up to that level and we see too much resistance, you can curl up, curl right back down, and you got divergence up there over the weekend. So it would tell me if I'm going to take a play to an upside move today, just note that the dollar is increasing very rapidly, which we saw those signals down here. That's why we were talking about it, right? It was a big thing we were talking about at the beginning of the week, and boom, to the upside. So the fact that this is happening tells me I need to maybe take a little bit of profit earlier, not get too greedy. And if things end up going higher, don't be bummed out. Know that in my overall trading, I am being active. I am being responsible. I am being risk managed. Does that make sense? Gold futures, I'm really confused by gold futures. I'm not gonna lie, this wick down here is throwing me for a loop. What I wanna see is, does the 2 hour curl down for gold futures, or are we just gonna head higher? Because at this point, what are you looking at? I mean, even the 4 hour is kind of wonky. It keeps going back and forth. So I don't think it's the best outlook for gold, I would say this, it's not the best look for a trade, but maybe there is some kind of structure in here that you could find, right? And we could say, okay, if this breaks out to the upside, notice I'm ignoring this wick down, I'm ignoring that wick up, I'm just taking a relatively, I think, confirmed high, I would say. But if that 4 hour, if that can cross up, we can see positivity. That's what I'm really looking for. And then the only thing that's really bad here is the daily is turning down in the futures. So even if we do get that move up, if that's not very strong, we could just get that fake out and move down. So right now the daily scale for the gold futures, if you really take a step back and really just think, you know, I feel like these days everyone tries to be so informed, when really the simplest answer is in front of you. And it just tells me, if I think simply here and I say, hey, I want to go long on gold futures, and then I see this on a daily scale, I would go, that's not the best idea, right? That's a bad signal. Thinking about it more simply. But then if I go into shorter time frames, I can convince myself, when really, is this really going to be a fantastic trade? Or would this be a better trade? Right? Would this be the better trade? You know what I'm saying? And yeah, if gold breaks out, the dollar should crash down. But as of right now, we're seeing, and a lot of the time gold does crash, by the way, in crash scenarios. So it's not like gold is impossible to crash down or whatever. I mean, look at 2020. You guys want to go look at 2020? You want to talk about a time where gold crashed? Well, gold crashed right here. March of 2020, COVID crashed gold. So it's not like gold has to go up in a crash scenario. And if anyone's telling you that, they just don't know what they're talking about, to be genuine. So that's what I would say. Because at the end of the day, too, a lot of people are trading. Now, hard asset is totally different. Hard asset's totally different. You have to think of it like this. these stocks, right, like GLD, let's look at GLD. GLD is being traded with cash, but you're buying GLD, right? But it's with cash. So at the end of the day, the value of GLD could go down in even a crash scenario because people will still see it as, I want cash, I need cash, I need cash, I need cash. You can't go up, I mean, I'm sure you probably could, but you can't necessarily say like, oh, I need to pay my mortgage, I'm gonna send you 1.3 whatever ounces of gold or something like that, or 0.2 ounces of gold. That's just not it. Cash is what people care about the most still to this day. So when you're trading something, not talking about the hard asset, talking about something that people use cash to trade it, then this can still fall down because cash is the king at the end of the day when it comes to trading. You always trade from cash to a stock, stock to cash, right? I hope that makes sense. It makes sense in my brain. Maybe I'm not explaining it the best, but as far as GLD though, you can see 2 hour curls up, good things. Keeping it simple. 2 hour curls up, good things. Well, maybe Lavery, maybe you have some insight onto that as well. Maybe you can think of something. Maybe I'm not thinking about it too correctly, but call me out if I'm not. If it can't break 250, you think Tesla might be a good short opportunity? Let's go check Tesla one more time because that one's a little funky. I still want to just see, I mean, the hourly's curled up for sure at this point, right? Yeah, hourly's curling up. So this would mean positivity is the most likely option or something like Tesla. But I just want to see that proven in other places. You know what I'm saying? I just want to see that proven with like 2 hours for the SPY and the Qs. You know what I mean? Yeah, we might be getting that soon, actually. Look at that. We might be getting that soon. What about the Dow? Yeah, we might be getting these 2 hour crossups. When Dixie and gold move in sync, it's not a good sign. Okay, cool. Okay, cool. I'm glad my thinking is right. I need to like write that shit down when I talk about it because like that actually is me going through a thought process, and I should probably write it down so I can like remember. Where do I see the market going? At this moment, because the PCC is high and the dollar is high, I'm still thinking we get some kind of move up by the end of the day, but I think at some point, I would say this, by the end of the month, at some point by the end of the month, I think we end up down by the monthly expected move for the Qs. That's what I would say. I think the Qs will end up down towards something like 463 by the end of the month, but that can take a lot of time, right? We could do this, we could go up like this, go like that, hit mid-October, and then end up doing that. That's what I think right now with that move from the dollar. Does it mean I'm taking some kind of big call here and then I'm going to take some kind of massive short? No, I need that to be proven in the signals. Just because I think something doesn't mean it's reality. Just because I think I'm a girl doesn't mean I'm a girl. I'm a boy. Sorry about it. Reality. So with that, guys, I got to head out for the time being. I tried to stay on to talk to you guys about a little bit of some more stocks, but I'm gonna leave you guys on the Qs here for a moment. I do have to hop away, but I will see you guys later, and make sure to subscribe because we will be paying attention to some things on Saturday. Maybe we'll go through some of that port workers strike, look at some signals, figure out what's going on with the dollar. All right, guys, have a great day. Peace out. Enjoy your day. Make some good trades. Trade like water. Later.